So Lit Mobile just sent me this wireless mobile chart. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't click off the video. It's just a prank, bro. Relax. Relax. Today I actually want to talk about a really serious issue. So there's a massive plague taking the world by storm right now. And no, I'm not talking about the Heineken flu. I'm talking about how over the last, 6 months or so, I've heard a ridiculous amount of people use the phrase on accident. And we really need to nip this thing in the bud before it gets any worse.
What's the weirdest YouTube genre that you've ever discovered on accident?
I get that on accident a lot, dude, and I just want EX upper.
I said it on accident.
I was most certainly a Wake Up TV or Wake Up Super, and you got something on accident.
Okay, my bad. I skipped that one on accident.
Falling in love with the sport on accident.
You ended up there on accident.
There's a small chance I might have fired up the demo on accident. Maybe I fired up the demo on accident because I was so excited.
You're not gonna pull out on accident. You can do this on accident. Like, you can literally hit SS Rank on accident. That have released on the US Play Store on accident.
I met him totally on accident that night.
Ready? Go!
Quick shout out to all the new subscribers who have come along for the ride since my last video. Originally, I was planning to make this video about learning a traditional fighting game because I've only played Super Smash Bros. For the last 20 years or so, but it's still gonna take me a little while to learn the game that I chose, so I figure why not switch it up again and do another video that's not gaming related so the new subscribers will enjoy it, but also make it not so YouTube drama-y so that the gamer subscribers can also hopefully enjoy it. Okay, so two things you need to know about me. The first thing is I'm a bit of a grammar purist. We'll just go with that word because the other word isn't so YouTube safe. And the second thing is that I watch a crazy amount of YouTube. For the last 10 years, I pretty much haven't watched like any normal TV. I've watched the occasional TV series on Netflix like Breaking Bad or The Walking Dead, or more recently Rick and Morty, but for the most part I'm usually just watching YouTube videos or I have them playing in the background while I'm gaming. And it feels like just this year I've started to hear a lot more people say the phrase on accident in the videos that I watch. Now there's a portion of you watching this right now that are probably thinking, okay, so what's the issue? But there's also a portion of you watching this right now that are probably thinking, on accident? That sounds kind of weird. And that is exactly my point. All my life, I've only ever heard people say on purpose or by accident, not the other way around. You don't say on accident or by purpose. That just sounds dumb. It just sounds wrong. Here, I'm gonna read a couple sentences for you and you can tell me in the comments if this sounds a little bit weird. No, that wasn't a mistake. I did that by purpose. I think that video's fake. He totally fell down the stairs by purpose. I'm talking this way by purpose so that hopefully you realize how dumb it sounds. For some strange reason, I've only heard people say on accident in the last 6 months or so. Maybe it's been a year, I don't know, but it's a very, very recent thing and it's starting to come up way more often in the videos that I watch. So, being the grammar purist that I am, I've decided that it is my duty and my responsibility to make sure people stop saying on accident and start speaking properly. But, and this is a big, big but, English is a really stupid language. We've got multiple versions of words that all sound the same, like there, and there. And we've got words like up that can have a very literal meaning or mean nothing at all. For example, you can mess up, show up, and dress up. And in all three of those cases, I have no clue what the word up means, but I also know exactly what the word up means. You see what I'm saying? It's a really dumb language. My point is, who am I to say what's right or wrong when it comes to the English language? It's complicated enough as it is, and for all I know, my parents could have taught me incorrectly. So I did what any good researcher would do, and I clicked about a handful of links on the first page of Google. So the first one comes from writingexplained.org, and there's also an advertisement that says, my stepmom's idea of wrestling is weird. So I'm gonna have to do some more research on that later. So it says by accident is the standard phrase, and then it has a couple examples, like if I hurt your feelings, it was by accident. You know I would never be mean to you on purpose. So they're kind of like giving examples of what I was saying. You say on purpose and by accident, not the other way around. But this next part here is really good. It says, depending on the person you talk to, it may or may not be considered an error. And then it has a graph showing how often by accident is used in writing compared to on accident. I gotta stop doing these air quotes. I think you guys know what I mean by now, right? It says for every one use of on accident in print, the phrase by accident is used 75 more times, which is pretty crazy. So the conclusion here is, in spoken English, there's no definitive ruling that says on accident is grammatically incorrect, because English is a really dumb language and we can't have consistent rules for anything. However, it's basically universally agreed upon that when writing something in English, you would use by accident. This next one is from Quick and Dirty Tips, which sounds like a fantastic website, by the way, and they mentioned that 10 years ago, someone did a study and found that the phrase on accident was almost exclusively used by people under the age of 40. There was also this article I found from the Chicago Tribune, which also mentioned the same study from 10 years ago, but this time they said the cutoff age was 35, so basically people under 35 or people under 40 are pretty much almost exclusively the group of people saying on accident. Coincidentally, the very next link I clicked was also a 10-year-old question, and this one comes from the English Language and Usage Stack Exchange, which is just a really pretentious way of saying this is the Yahoo Answers for grammar purists. But anyways, this question also mentioned how the divide seemed to be centered at around the age of 40. There's a comment here that says, "Curious, my kids say on accident, and I always thought they were just plain wrong." And then another one that says, "I never heard the phrase on accident until my son used it as a teenager. And you know what this tells me? This tells me that the phrase on accident is mostly used by kids who don't realize how dumb they sound because nobody is correcting them." There's another comment here that says on accident is not considered to be proper English in the UK and seems to be an American thing. And the last comment I wanted to point out says on accident sounds strange to me. By accident sounds better, but I can't understand how it could be much different from on purpose, albeit very strange to say by purpose. So Dan over here gets me. It sounds strange to say on accident, and it sounds equally strange to say by purpose. That's why we switch the words around. That's why we say by accident and on purpose. Makes everybody happy. And finally, I skimmed through a Reddit thread where somebody said they've been hearing the phrase on accident said a lot more frequently by Americans lately, and they mentioned that they were taught that by accident is the correct expression. Then you've got people replying saying, of course by accident is the correct expression, I blame the internet, I blame the kids these days, yada yada yada. And then of course there's two people who both have an unquenchable thirst to prove to complete strangers on the internet that they're smarter than them, so the rest of the thread is just a debate between these two people. But I mean, it's Reddit, so I didn't really expect anything more. So out of the 4 articles and the 1 Reddit thread I looked at, just a quick reminder of how deeply extensive my research was, I found that the general consensus was these 3 things. Number 1, saying on accident instead of by accident tends to be an American thing. Number 2, it's mostly said by people under the age of 40. And then finally, number 3, it's very, very, very rarely used in writing. Most of the time in writing, you'll see the phrase by accident. Seeing these 3 things mentioned multiple times has only strengthened my belief that saying on accident is grammatically incorrect. And I'll explain why. So English is the language of business, right? And there's a ton of other countries besides the US and Canada that speak English. So if the United States is basically the only place where English-speaking people are saying on accident, then you're probably saying it wrong. I mean, say you show up to an event or something with 9 other people, and those 9 people are dressed up super fancy, and you're not. It's not that those 9 people overdressed, you're just doing it wrong. The second thing was that this phrase is mostly said by people under 40, and what that tells me is that the people that are saying it are millennials and zoomers that have never been corrected by anyone. Old people aren't saying it because they've already spent their whole life speaking properly. Now we've got these youngsters running around saying things like malding and KEKW, and they don't care how dumb they sound. And then finally, by accident is used in print 75 times more than on accident. That's pretty huge. And that just simply tells me that an overwhelming majority of writers think that saying on accident is just grammatically incorrect. However, and this is probably the 3rd time I've said this, English is a really, really dumb language. Despite a couple thousand years going by, nobody has laid down the law on which phrase is the correct one. I mean, maybe somebody did it, but I'm expecting if somebody did do it, then it would show up on the first page of Google. Like, come on. What I'm trying to say is, in conclusion, based on my super extensive first page of Google research, it would be wrong for me to say, hey you, stop saying on accident, that's grammatically incorrect. I just can't say that, it's not true, there's no definitive ruling. But if we all come together and agree that the correct phrase is by accident, we can make a change. We can rewrite history. The only reason that anything has any meaning at all is because we all agree that it does. Take money, for example. Money is literally just paper, metals, and digital numbers, but we all agree that it has meaning and that it's worth something. So if we can all agree that there is just one correct way to say by accident, and every time you hear somebody say on accident, you politely correct them and maybe share this video with them, then eventually it will catch on and all of us, the entire world, can put this grammatical monstrosity to rest and I can finally sleep at night. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Also, please realize that you can just forego either of these phrases completely by just saying accidentally. For example, if you have some sort of ego complex and you don't want to do what I'm saying because of the fact that I'm saying it, but you also don't want to sound like an idiot, you can just replace the words by accident or on accident with the phrase accidentally. That way, the sentence still means the exact same thing and you can avoid the grammar debate altogether. Easy peasy. And that's it for this video. If you're still watching all the way up to this point, thank you so much. You're super awesome and the world needs more people like you. I had a lot of fun making this video and it's just something that's been in the back of my mind, just bugging me and poking me whenever I hear somebody say on accident in a YouTube video. So I just wanted to put out some sort of video on the topic and express my thoughts and see if anyone agreed or disagreed. Let me know. Do you think it sounds weird when people say on accident, or maybe you're one of those? Are you one of those? Let me know in the comments. I do read every single one. This is a pretty small channel, so I have the privilege of being able to read every single comment without it taking up 2 weeks of my life. So if you do want me to see or hear what you have to say, the best way is to just leave a comment. Also, please just share this video. I'm like half joking, half serious with all the stuff that I said in this video, but honestly, just share it around and get your friends to stop saying on accident. It just sounds so dumb and so uneducated and it triggers the tiny little grammar gremlin living inside my brain. So yeah, share this video around, raise awareness on this super serious issue, and hopefully all of us can come together and agree that there's only one correct way to say by accident. Thanks again, subscribe if you like the content. The next video will probably be gaming related, and yes, I do blink, it's just I'm not used to filming videos while looking directly at the camera. This is kind of a new thing for me, so it is like a weird experience. But I'm not a lizard person, I'm not friends with Mark Zuckerberg, I'm a human. All is good, all is well. Catch you later, happy smashing.